In the very, very beginning, before there was anything at all, there was nothing. Not a single thing. Not a bird. Not a tree. Imagine a great big empty room with the lights turned off. It was like that, but much, much bigger. It was dark, and it was quiet. A deep, silent, waiting kind of quiet. A great, wide, formless emptiness stretched out forever and ever. There were no mountains to climb or rivers to swim in, a world not yet made, a story not yet told. But God was there. He was there in the quiet and the dark, and God had a wonderful plan. It was a secret, hidden in his heart, a plan to make something beautiful out of the nothing. He was ready to make his masterpiece. God's heart was full of love, and he wanted to make a world that would be full of his love too. He didn't need any tools. He just needed his voice. Because when God speaks, things happen. And so God spoke. His voice echoed through the great, empty darkness. He said, "Let there be light." And just like that, there was. Suddenly, the darkness wasn't dark anymore. A brilliant, beautiful light burst forth, shining everywhere. It chased all the shadows away. It was the very first sunrise, but there was no sun yet. It was God's very own light, warm and wonderful. God looked at the light he had made, and he saw that it was good, very good. God separated the light from the darkness. He called the light day, a time for waking up and playing. And he called the darkness night, a time for sleeping and dreaming. Then, on the second day, God spoke again. He said, "Let there be a great space to separate the waters." And poof, a beautiful big sky appeared. It arched high above the waters below, a huge blue dome. God called this big, beautiful space sky. It was a giant playground of air and clouds waiting for birds to fly through it. God looked at the sky he had made, and he saw that it was good. The world was starting to take shape. Now it had light and darkness day and night, and a beautiful sky stretching over everything. It was a world with rhythm and space. On the third day, God looked down at the world covered in water. He spoke once more. "Let the water gather into one place, and let dry ground appear." And it happened. The waters rushed together to form great oceans and seas, and out of the water rose the land. There were mountains and valleys, hills and plains, but the new land was bare. It was just brown earth and rocks. So God said, "Let the land be filled with green things." And immediately, it was. Tiny green shoots pushed up through the soil. Grass grew like a soft green carpet over the hills. Flowers of every color burst open, bright reds, sunny yellows, deep purples. Big, strong trees grew tall, reaching their leafy branches up toward the sky. And on the trees grew delicious fruit, juicy apples, sweet figs. The whole world was bursting with life. It was a beautiful garden, a green and growing place. God made every plant special. He made tall, strong oak trees and tiny, delicate flowers. Every leaf, every petal, every blade of grass was made with love. Now the world was a beautiful place, but something was still missing. The day and night were there, but there were no lights in the sky to mark them. So on the fourth day, God said, "Let there be lights in the sky to separate the day from the night, and to be signs for seasons, days, and years." And so God made two great lights. He made a bigger light to shine during the day, and we call it the sun. It filled the world with warmth and bright, happy light. Then he made a smaller light to shine in the darkness, and we call it the moon. And God scattered handfuls of leftover light across the night sky. They became the stars, twinkling like tiny diamonds. God saw these lights, and they were good. The world was beautiful. It had land and seas, plants and trees, and lights in the sky, but it was still very quiet. There were no creatures splashing or chirping or roaring. So on the fifth day, God said, "Let the waters be filled with living things." Suddenly, the quiet seas were not quiet anymore. They were teeming with life. Tiny fish with shimmering scales darted through the water. Great big whales swam in the deep, singing their mysterious songs. Dolphins leaped and played in the waves. The oceans were full of wonderful, wriggly, splashy creatures. And it wasn't just the water that was filled with life. The sky was too. There were tiny hummingbirds that zipped and zoomed, their wings beating so fast you could barely see them. There were majestic eagles that soared high up in the air, riding the wind. There were parrots with feathers like jewels and robins that sang sweet melodies in the morning. The air was now filled with the flutter of wings and beautiful music. Every single creature was special to God. He made the giant, gentle whale and the tiny, colorful clownfish. He made the funny-looking octopus with all its arms and the graceful swan that glides on the water. He gave each one a special place to live. The world was now a noisy, busy, wonderful place. It was a symphony of splashing, singing, and soaring. It was alive. God blessed them and said, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the seas and the sky." On the 6th day, the world was almost complete. The land was green and beautiful, but it was empty. So God spoke again, "Let the land produce living creatures," and out they came. There were animals of every kind. Big, strong lions with shaggy manes, tall, graceful giraffes. There were fast cheetahs that could run like the wind, and slow, steady tortoises. There were fluffy sheep and cuddly rabbits. The land was filled with creeping, crawling, hopping, and running creatures. And God saw that it was good. But God had saved the very best for last. This was the most special part of his whole creation. He said, "Let us make human beings in our own image." He didn't just speak them into being. No, this was different. God bent down to the ground. He took some dust from the earth, and with his own hands he lovingly formed a man. He breathed his own breath into the man's nostrils, and Adam became a living person. Then God said, "It is not good for the man to be alone." So he made Eve to be his friend and partner. When Adam saw her, he was so happy. Now they could enjoy God's wonderful world together. When God had finished all his work, he looked at everything he had made. And God saw that it was not just good, it was very, very good. It was perfect. His wonderful world was complete. And on the 7th day, God rested, enjoying the amazing world he had made for us to love and care for.